Our brief was to create like a sequence where we demonstrate all the skills that we learned. You're not recording, right?
I am.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if we were recorded yet.
Why would I start asking the questions if I won't?
I thought you were practicing.
Don't
Let's just go with the outro. I'll leave it in.
Hi, future. Okay, so the brief for our preliminary task was to make a short sequence demonstrating the skills that we had learned in class, so such as the 180-degree rules, various different angles,
shot, reverse shot, stuff like that.
And our close-ups, extreme close-ups.
Yeah.
And comparing that to your, not our preliminary, but our final product,
What helped us with the preliminary? That helped us by, well, the amount of like angles and shots we had to use. So like the establishing shots in the park.
Yeah.
The bird's eye view of you in the office.
And because we done some of these shots before in reduced areas, so we'd be more efficient.
And why were we asked to complete the preliminary?
Just to show about skills that we learned.
Yeah.
And then we can show progress if we got better. Maybe we could show enough.
Just to show that we knew what we were doing, because we can't just be, we have to walk before we can run.
Yeah.
So it's like we can't just, start making the thriller out of nowhere. Like we needed practice.
And what did you learn from your preliminary task?
Just to get more proficient with the camera.
Yeah, and
using
it was like really good practice on, the different ways you could just shoot one scene, and it also taught us to, when you're just making even one scene, to go over it over and over again, but just film it from a different perspective or a different angle.
Would you say it helped our planning and our editing skills as well?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we definitely.
Like when we edited that sequence, there was like the line between having to, debating on which clips would work and which clips wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did it help you in your thriller opening?
We definitely became more resourceful with what we had, because we had a limited amount of people, so anyone who was on the scene couldn't be filming and stuff. So we definitely became more resourceful from that.
We had to consider rules of continuity in our preliminary tasks. So we had to make sure that everything would look the same depending on the different shots. So if it looked a certain way in one shot, we had to keep everything exactly the same.
Yeah.
And that really helped us when filming the lodger, since we had to keep everything under control, especially with Ryan's appearance. Like we couldn't make sure that things, he wouldn't look, odd or different, or like the bag would be on like another shot. It had to look the same. So
especially because we filmed over the 2-week period, which film in different places at different times at different days.
And we would forget the positioning of certain clothing.
So we needed to make sure.
We didn't.
We kept it consistent.
We kept it very consistent.
And it all flowed, and I think it all made kind of good sense.
Yeah, and nothing looked out of place.
Did you think you became very much more proficient using the camera as well as the tripod?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially when we did that bird's eye view shot of Ryan in the office.
But just learning all the different types of shot and like the different meanings that a shot can portray was so helpful, like for us to help portray our ideas throughout the thriller.
And it allowed us to become very confident with the technology we were using. And we managed to pull off some really impressive shots. The genre of our film was, what we wanted it to be was like a techno thriller, and to be inspired by films such as The Guest. And the way we showed that through our use of different angles. So for example, in the office scene in the beginning, when we first see Ryan, the camera's slowly zooming in on him, and we did this to create a sense of tension in the scene.
So what was the importance of effective planning?
So first of all, it was really important for us to work as a group, because if we didn't really understand each other or work well with each other, it just wouldn't we wouldn't have been able to film as effectively or plan or edit, and it just would have caused so many problems. but planning is so important when we had to film this thriller, because if we didn't plan where we wanted to shoot, what we wanted to shoot, like the angles or the kind of theme that we were looking for, or like even costumes. So we filmed in the park, which highlighted like a very empty space, and because he was only seen by himself, it kind of showed that he was isolated. The office scene, or him walking out the office and down the corridor, was kind of showing isolation as well.
One last question. Getting and taking advice. If you had to give advice to a group of people who are planning to make a film, what advice would you tell them and why?
Find a group that you can work with, number one.
Make sure, like, I think the most important thing is have a good narrative that will engage your audience. Like, you can do all these crazy shots and everything, and you know, make your opening look really good, but if you don't have an engaging storyline, then no one will really be interested.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'd say, yeah,
And
narrative.
practice doing the camera, and practice editing and sounds, and like thinking of different unique ideas to make your thriller different from anybody else's.